Hey, good morning to those of you out there on the West Coast. Good afternoon to those of you here on the East Coast with me. We're getting ready to start another training today. It's let me just get my slides up really quick here, just for myself, and then we're going to get rocking and rolling. By the way, I usually start off with quick tips, etc., but I want to bypass all that so that we can get to the meat of today's guest, Matt Burkett, and we're going to be able to dive into his wisdom and less of me chatting a lot, right? But I do want to sit there and just kind of introduce the topic as we go forward. So let me share a couple of slides really quick. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you're engaging in the chat. I know we're coming in from different angles. People are coming in from YouTube and different places on LinkedIn. We get started here in just a second since I got my things in a row. And somebody throw it in the chat just to let me know that we're good to go. Matt, I think you're listening to it. It just takes me a second to get LinkedIn pushing this out to everybody. By the way, Dave Waltz comes in here all the time. He's a really good giver in the community. If you don't know this, your first time here, I always use my phone just to make sure I'm tracking on it. We're good to go. We got over 100 people joining us. So if you're able to get into the chat, make sure you network, because I'm going to talk with Matt today, but I also want to be able to give you an opportunity to meet other people in the federal space, government contractors, sometimes buyers come in, and those in the industry who support small businesses. So engage in the chat. So let me just do a quick intro of today's talk. Today, I'm going to be talking with Matt, and he is somebody I have been a big fan of for years and years. I brought him on the show. I've talked to him before when I did podcasts. And Matt used to be at Crane, Naval Surface Warfare Center, Crane. And Matt, it looks like Dave Waltz, your old colleague or peer, is at Naval Surface. Is at Gold Coast, and he's on. So it's pretty exciting. Anyways, Matt's one of the best small business professionals out there. If you ever see me post about him, I sit there and say he sits right at the very top of the list of small business professionals who truly support the agency and the industry and figures out how the two of them can come together to support the mission. And so he has extensive experience at Crane. I think it was like 17 years, first as a contracting officer, then as a small business specialist, or what they call in the Navy, a deputy of small business programs. And right now he's at Applied Research Institute, or ARI, as a director of innovation pathways. And we'll be discussing some of that as we go along. So I'm super excited about that. And in our conversation, we're going to be talking about Navy innovation, federal and local innovation. So I'm trying to tie it back and forth, and then dive in a little bit into the advanced technology areas that ARI has as a focus, because what they do is pretty much representative of what's needed around the country. So that's what we're going to cover today. If you don't know who I am, my name is Neil McDonnell. I am the president of the GovCon Chamber of Commerce and the co-founder of GovCon in a Box. And I want to welcome you to my federal sales training, where I provide tips for success in the federal market. I spent 20 years as a small business owner in the federal market. And since 2018, I've been teaching people like you that government contracting is not a secret. It's just a process. When we follow the process A to Z, we're going to have repeatable, predictable results. And one of the best ways to learn the process is to talk to people like Matt, who used to run the process and be the receiver of our sales process. If you haven't done so already, make sure you sign up for Government Contracting Success Newsletter. This newsletter is where we put out a lot of good information about how you can succeed. For example, today, we put out the top 3 federal people I think you should have relationships with. So go in there, see the newsletter, see what we say. And last thing on this page, I just wanted to mention that if you haven't seen the training for tomorrow, it's Be the SME Federal Buyers Need. Be the subject matter expert that buyers need. That's Wednesday. Go register for that training after Matt finishes talking. Okay, before we dive in and I bring Matt into the fold here, I just want to congratulate all of the 100 clubs, but most importantly, Crosscheck Technologies, Kevin Bookman. Since yesterday's meeting, he's the company that has hit the 100 club. And what this means is it's the federal visibility score of 100. So he's got 100 out of 100. And that means he's done everything he can in the federal tools to be fully visible to the federal buyer. Go check out your score, govconinabox.com. It's free, it's quick. And as Kevin can talk to, it's really important to be able to understand your business, not just be visible, but in order to be visible, you need to know really what you're selling and how the federal buyer is buying that. All right, so let me go ahead and get back here. I'm going to turn off the slides because I don't need them anymore. And I want to bring Matt in. And Matt, I got to put you up on the big screen. I put you on the little screen. Sorry about that. It's like, just going to leave you down there, Matt. But welcome, Matt.
Hey, thanks for having me, Neil. It's great to be back. I think this is the third time you and I have been together. So really appreciate the opportunity. And again, always love what you do and the support that you provide to small businesses.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. It's exciting when I'm able to collaborate with you and others. One of the things I can already tell is because I know this is a 30-minute window, I speak at a fire hose rate. Don't feel the need to speak at that. I was trying to get through all the like kind of housekeeping stuff, but you and I can have a nice chat and have some good stuff in there. But one of the things, Matt, that I don't think you and I ever explored before that I just figure we could start with is Naval Surface Warfare Center, 𝗡𝗲𝗓. Maybe you can give us just a little bit about what that organization is and their spend, right? How much in a total spend they have, and then slide that into what do they do around innovation? And maybe just as an aside, you can tell us why on earth is the Navy in the middle of the country?
So we'll try to hit on that. So what does 𝗡𝗓𝗓 do? Boy, 𝗡𝗓𝗓 does a lot. So I would tell the community. I left 𝗡𝗓𝗓 back in October of 23. So 𝗖lie 𝗓𝗓, backfilled me. So if you haven't talked to 𝗖lie, I feel like you need to. 𝗖lie's doing a great job. She's outstanding. But 𝗡𝗓𝗓 has three kind of core mission areas. So strategic missions, electromagnetic warfare, and expeditionary warfare. So they tried to. So you're talking about a lot of microelectronics, hypersonics. In that global, in that strategic missions area, you've got a lot of boots on the ground, small arms weapons, a lot of cybersecurity type work. In the expeditionary warfare line of business, and then the electromagnetic warfare. So you've got support of legacy systems. You've got radar systems. You've got it's a nice mix of service and supply type contracting. Through all three of those mission areas. Then kind of transitioning into how does the Navy or how does 𝗡𝗓𝗓 kind of support innovation? So 𝗡𝗓𝗓 is really moved to sort of the tip of the spear when it comes to innovation. In terms of supporting Navy platforms. I mean, not only are we supporting legacy, or 𝗡𝗓𝗓 is supporting legacy systems, there's a lot of new systems and cutting edge technology that's taking place at 𝗡𝗓𝗓, especially when you're talking about microelectronics and hypersonics. And that's one of the big kind of mission sets for us at ARI is microelectronics. We're one of 8 regional hub leads in terms of the microelectronics commons program. But yeah, I mean, 𝗡𝗓𝗓 really is at the forefront of innovation in terms of, opportunities for small business, but then as well as supporting customers, supporting program offices that are very engaged in the small business innovation research or the small business technology transfer program. So lots of opportunity there. And then lastly, to touch on the point of what is a Navy base doing in the middle of Indiana? Well, it's a very interesting story. It was 𝗡𝗓𝗓 was going to be I believe a national park, not a state park. I believe it was a national park. But then right after World War II started, Pearl Harbor, the country realized, hey, we've got to start to get our ammunition off the coast, move those inland. So instead of it being a park, they designated as a base where a lot of conventional ammunition is stored. And then you think about it over the years, 𝗡𝗓𝗓 has really evolved over the years where we have a handful of tenants on the base. The Naval Surface Warfare Center 𝗡𝗓𝗓, which is the largest tenant, is located there. And there's about close to 5,000 people total when you count civilians and contractors. But like I said, we've really evolved over the years to where now it's way more than just a ammunition storage depot. There is a lot of cutting edge technology and a lot of Navy support taking place there at 𝗡𝗓𝗓.
No, it's funny that you and I have talked a lot. We've known each other a while. That's the first time I think I've even heard that story. Totally makes sense. The minute you say it, it's like, let's get it to a safer spot. One thing that's interesting, you were talking about microelectronics, and I admit I don't know anything about microelectronics, right? I'm in the software side of the house, but but I do engage, this with small business all the time, trying to help them just understand how to navigate Crane or the rest of the government. And in the last month or two, I had large businesses reaching out to me trying to find smalls who could not only do microelectronics, but also had any kind of traction with Crane, because they do see the value of smalls being able to come in there. Let me ask, like, if, when we think about innovation, you're talking about some stuff that's just like hypersonics or microelectronics. Literally, it's all science fiction to a degree. It's total reality, and I get that. But what about just this out of left field kind of a question here? But what about innovation for people who just maybe aren't working on the the weapon systems or the ships or something? The day-to-day life innovation, especially with AI and ML coming out, and where there theoretically is innovation out there. How do you feel Crane, or maybe more broadly the Navy, and I know you're not speaking on behalf of the Navy, but how do you feel they see innovation there? Do you see it across the board, or just really in these specialty areas?
No, I really see it. I really see it across the board. I don't want to, get too far into the SBIR world, but right at this moment. But I mean, SBIR, when you're looking at the government holistically, I mean, you've got 11 federal agencies that participate in SBIR. So there's a lot of innovative opportunities that take place there between those 11 agencies that participate in SBIR. And then you've got the 6 largest of those 11 participate in both SBIR and STTR. So there's opportunities there for small businesses to receive some non-dilutive funding to pursue some innovative paths to address specific government needs, or address kind of business needs that the particular business might have. But kind of reaching back to the Navy, I was talking with the NAVSEA SBIR director, Jason Schrumpfer, and his team, and the Navy, really, because we support a lot of legacy systems. It's not necessarily the cutting edge stuff that they're always looking at now. What's the next best thing or the latest and greatest? It's how do we fulfill needs for some of these legacy programs that we're fielding, where the OEMs don't really want to play in this anymore. So small business, can you give us some ideas of how you would address this particular problem, or redesign this particular widget that fits this particular need? So there's really a lot of opportunity there in terms of Navy innovation that takes place. And it's not just in that kind of, AI, ML, microelectronics, all that type of thing. There's really, a wide spectrum of opportunities that smalls can get involved with, really across several federal agencies, but more specifically with the Navy and the DoD.
Yeah, I like how you expanded it onto 11 agencies. And just to help everybody else, help people out who maybe are newer to what we're even talking about. So SBIR is Small Business Innovation Research. And then the technology transfer, what does STTR stand for? Yeah,
Small Business Technology Transfer. Mm-hmm.
Okay, what's the R? Just transfer? Is the R at the end just?
Well, that's Technology Transfer Research. Yeah.
Oh, technology transfer research. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Do me a favor. So if the Small Business Innovation Research is for innovative ideas where the government, and frankly, if you're listening to this, you can go research a lot more. Just type SBIR into Google and you'll find SBA, who's got a great site on it, and all the agencies that do it. So you'll find that. Then you can dig further into it. But basically, it's 3 phases where you've got kind of idea money, and then let's see if we can make it work money, and then executing money. That's my way of saying it.
It's a good way of putting it.
It's about how do I get funding for some innovative ideas. What's STTR? Expand on that just a little bit, if you would.
So the STTR, like I said, with SBIR, you've got 11 agencies. With STTR, it's the 6th largest of those 11. With DoD being the largest. So STTR requires the small business to partner with a university research partner or another nonprofit. So you've got to have that research partner, that university partner, if you're going to pursue a STTR opportunity. Where with SBIR, if you want to go at it alone as the small business, feel free, you can do that. It doesn't require you to partner. It's just the STTR side does. The other piece of it too is there's not as many dollars obligated yearly to STTR. So I don't want to say it's a little less competitive just in terms of the number of proposals that might be submitted against a given topic. Where SBIR, phase ones, you might have thousands of proposals submitted against given topics throughout the year. So the win rate's a little bit lower just because, you've got some companies that don't really know what they're doing, just saying, hey, I want to see if I can get some of that free government non-dilutive money, and I'll just pitch this idea across the fence and see if it catches. So yeah, I mean, those are really the kind of the big differences. There is the university partner or the nonprofit partner that you have to have for the STTR.
Yeah, it's like the government for SBIR is the venture capitalist with $4.5 billion in SBIR dollars, I think, out there among all of them. And when you say non-dilutive, if people don't understand what it means you don't have to give up equity to get the cash. You do have to meet obligations or expectations, which I think are a little tighter than for the average VC. So,
yes, yeah, it's a great program. I always jokingly say when I'm going around the state of Indiana talking to businesses about it, I always say, you remember, I think it was Reagan that said, "Hey, I'm here from the government and I'm here to help you." And you always kind of, but I really think with SBIR, the government is trying to help. I mean, it's non-dilutive capital, and you've got 20 years worth of data rights, so it is helpful.
Yeah,
it's not for everybody, but for those that see value in it, it can be very helpful to them.
I don't know if you know. I mean, you must know Chad Rogers from DoD. So he's in the DoD SBIR office for everybody else. But lately, he's been doing these videos on his LinkedIn channel of companies doing success or having success in the SBIR program. And it's like, I'm super excited to go find those people and say, hey, come on, start talking. Let's have an Innovation Monday or something. Absolutely. And hear those stories.
And I always look at it as kind of an entry point. So SBIR might be your entry point into government contracting or into DoD contracting. Like you mentioned, there's phase 2 opportunities, but then there's the long-term phase 3, those kind of commercialization phase opportunities with those long-term government contracts. But if nothing else, it gives you an opportunity to meet with some government agencies as you're working through the different phases of this program and start to figure out what commercialization paths these agencies have, and build some of those, as you always talk about, build some of those long-term relationships. So not only am I going to compete on this SBI opportunity, but there might be something else that my business is capable of handling at this particular agency that's on the traditional side that I might move into. So just getting to know program offices, contracting officers, I think is vitally important to a business, especially if government acquisition is something that you want to be in long-term.
No, that's good advice. Let me move you from the Navy and Crane, and now you're in ARI, and still now you've expanded, I think, more into innovation than you were before. Where your last role, you were in small business professional. Talk to me about, like, how does you got all these DoD or not DoD federal SBIR dollars or federal innovation dollars. How does that align to maybe what states are doing? And you can really just speak more from Indiana's perspective. And then also ARI, if you can give us a little brief introduction of how that ties in, because it's pretty fascinating.
Sure. So I guess to kind of touch on the innovation side. So I run a program for the state of Indiana. It's called the FAST program, or the Federal and State Technology Partnership Program. That is a small business administration program. So I believe it's 46 of the 50 states, it may be 48 now of the 50 states, have a FAST program. They're all a little bit different, but essentially what they're designed to do is to help small business that want to pursue SBIR as a path to commercialized technology. So we offer 4 main support services. We offer topic identification, proposal assistance, support letters, and then if a company is successful, wins a federal SBIR phase 1 or phase 2 opportunity, then I can provide them with non-dilutive matching funds to go with that. So you win a phase 1 with let's say the Navy, I can give you 50 cents on the dollar up to $50,000 in non-dilutive capital to help you to go along with what you just won from the Navy. And then for phase 2, it's very similar. I can give you 50 cents on the dollar up to $75,000. So That's what Indiana offers in terms of their FAST program. So I would tell any business, regardless of where they are, check into FAST programs in your state. Like I said, I think 46, if not now 48 of the 50 states have a FAST program. So take advantage of the resources. They're free to the business. The consulting services that we offer to the business, those are free to the business. It gets billed back to the FAST program. So take advantage of them, learn as much as you can. And then, like in my case, if you're in the state of Indiana, if you're successful, then come see me, because I can give you some non-dilutive capital to go along with that. But then kind of going into ARI. So we're a 501c3 nonprofit. So we do several things. So we have several federal and state contracts. So the contract I just talked about, the FAST program, that's a state contract. I mean, it's a federal award, but it was awarded to the IEDC, the Indiana Economic Development Corp. And then we at ARI, we administer that for them. But then we have 3 hubs that we act as a lead on. So a lot of folks, I'm sure, in the federal space here, they've heard of OTAs, or other transaction authority, or other transaction agreement. You've heard of consortium managers. We sort of act as a consortium manager for the Microelectronics Commons program. So our hub, we're one of 8. We're called the Silicon Crossroads. So then we have a second one, which is with the Economic Development Administration. It's a regional tech hub. So we're one of 38, I believe. And ours is called Heartland Bioworks. So that has a life science focus to it, where Commons is very microelectronics focused. And then there's one that we don't play. We're not as active in this one, but it's a hydrogen hub that we help lead. It's a 3-state effort: Indiana, Michigan, and Illinois, and that's through the Department of Energy. We've got those 3 hubs, and we've got the state opportunities, and then we have a couple other programs. So we also work with the Naval X Midwest Tech Bridge. So Naval X is kind of the innovative arm of the Navy. So we support them with outreach efforts. So again, I get a lot of my Crane small business feel and all that through the Naval X program. And then we also operate what's called the DARPA Connect program. So if a company is on the line today and they want some direct access into DARPA, want to learn more about what DARPA does and how to contract with DARPA, they can come to me. I can connect them with our DARPA Connect leads, and they can, we can make an introduction there, and they can start learning more about how to connect and work with DARPA. So really at ARI, I feel like we're doing a lot of good work. There's so much work to do. And we've got a lot of people coming to us, wanting us to partner with them or lead on particular efforts. So really, really, the pace is very fast, but really, really loving what we're doing right now.
Without going too far into it, are you saying partner with us or lead? Is that because you're able to be one of those partners and go after STTRs?
Well, so we're, there are opportunities where it might be a large business that has to lead, or it might be a nonprofit that would be the lead. So we've got a lot of organizations kind of coming to us, and then we've had several smalls and large businesses wanting us to partner with them, kind of act as a subcontractor. Just because of the reputation we've built, the way we're able to execute, those types of things. And then we've got a lot of personnel that have a DoD background working with us right now. So it's a great time really to be at ARI. And like I said, I really feel like we're doing a lot of great things. The growth is amazing. And so again, if anybody's interested in any of the programs that I've mentioned, feel free to get a hold of me, and we can try to help connect you and guide you in the right direction.
Yeah, I was going to say really quick, I was just going to say that Matt's on LinkedIn. Feel free to connect with him. I know there's a lot of people coming in from YouTube as well. But come on to LinkedIn. It's one of the fastest ways to connect with pretty much anybody these days. It's the platform of choice. But the one of the things I wanted to back up, because there's so much to talk about, Matt, and with a 30-minute show, literally with you, I'm like, I need to make it hours, not hours, excuse me, 1 hour a piece, but longer, because we start diving into it. But I'm gonna bring you back, because actually we're gonna bring a bunch of guests in from the services and DoD themselves to talk about innovation at all these different levels. And I'd love to come back and almost maybe make it more of a ARI day where us learning about what ARI and you do in there can help teach us about the 50 states. And so I actually wanted to maybe pull it back a little bit and say, if you were going to suggest to any one of us about how do we get started in our state? Like you were talking about the FAST program, which is great. ARI is in Indiana. So how would I get started in my state if my state is California or Virginia or wherever? Well, forget about Virginia where the Pentagon is, but pick a harder state.
Yeah. Well, I would probably start maybe in a couple places. I mean, every state is kind of structured a little bit different. Of course, a lot of these state contracting opportunities fall under, like in Indiana, the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. So if a state has a particular agency or group such as that would definitely be a great place to start. I would also tell you, check with, like in terms of FAST program, go to the SBA, the Small Business Administration. If you go to sbir.gov, you can find the local assistance providers in each state. So when you're talking small business development centers, Apex accelerators, all of those types of organizations, you can find a lot of those organizations and points of contact there. So that's probably where I would start. But in Indiana, like I said, a lot of it kind of falls under the IEDC. So that's kind of the initial place to go. But otherwise, I would go to the SBA and check out sbir.gov and look for those local assistance there.
No, that's perfect because they're friendly. And you're talking about the Economic Development Commission. I forgot about that one because when I think you and I met a long time ago, and when I first started back in 2018 doing a lot of this activity, they were one of the first places I went to in every state to sit there and talk to them about the hub zone companies and, hey, are you familiar with the government contracting world? So these are great tips on like how to get started in there. You were talking a minute ago, and I just really want to pull this one out because this is a little like PTAX, Apex Accelerator, in that they have procurement in their name, right? And so they help with that procurement guidance, right? They're not going to do it all for you. When you talk about how organizations, maybe like yours or others, help with topic development, proposal, and I think you said support, but on the proposal, topics one thing, on the proposal, what's the level of support that's normal to expect?
Yeah, so with us through the FAST program, based on the rules of the FAST program, we can provide. So we really need the company to provide the meat and potatoes. So we're not gonna write the proposal for you. We've got 4 consultants that we work with that work in this business. This is what they do every day. So they're some of the best. They're some of the best at what they do. And what they have a set number of hours that they can provide to a given business. And what they're going to do is they're going to help guide them. So provide them an outline. Here's what goes in these particular sections. They'll also provide a proofread. So once the business has a proposal somewhat put together, they can provide it back to the consultant. They'll read through that and give them some very, very thorough feedback. I read through a lot of the feedback that our consultants have provided to businesses in Indiana. And I'm thinking, man, like this is outstanding feedback that they're giving them that really helps them put their best foot forward when submitting the proposal. Again, like we try to cap it at 8 hours per business because again, it's a bandwidth issue. And then again, you don't want one particular business absorbing all the time, but really you can get a lot for your money in 8 hours. And again, that is free to you, the business. So I would advise if your state has something similar to that, take advantage of it. So,
no, that's a really good point. And that's the key, right? Is sometimes we just need that coach. We don't need them to do the work, but just giving us the guidance along the way will help us. I know we're kind of running out of time here. I want to make sure, and I'll have you back, Matt, because I love having you on, and I can tap into you for any type of information, which is great. But I'd like to tap into you on one particular topic related to what you do next time, especially in the innovation side, really digging down further into that.
Sure.
But if people want to reach out and connect with you, by the way, don't reach out to him and ask him to do everything for you, but reach out to him because he's a great connection. Is it LinkedIn is the best way, or is there another way that you want them to reach out?
LinkedIn, on the social media platforms, LinkedIn is the best way to reach me. And then, I can make my email available if people want to email me directly. So those are typically the best ways to get me. And a lot of times, Neil, as you know, I'm going to try to set up a meeting with you, especially if it's something that I think you can support. I'm going to try to set up a meeting with you, learn more about your business, and then try to point you in the right direction or connect you with the right person. Because again, like small businesses, not only are you proposal writers, you're accounting, you're also trying to do BD. So if you've got somebody inside the gate with a little bit of know-how that's willing to help, happy to do that, because I know you've got a lot on your plate. As you're looking for different opportunities and you have to wear all the different hats. So more than happy to do that as well.
No, that's awesome. You're always generous. I appreciate that. When you reach out to Matt and you connect on LinkedIn, make sure you say that you saw him on LinkedIn. Don't just send a blind connection, give him context. And if you're on YouTube, come on over and connect with either one of us. We'd be happy to have that. Matt, we're out of time, so I want to just always end on time. But thank you very much for coming on. You just, even in here, I love it. Even if no one else learns, I learn all the time. So thank you very much for coming on and sharing your wisdom.
Absolutely, Neil. Thanks for having me again. Can't wait to do it again.
Perfect. For everybody else, just remember, government contracting, it is not a secret. It's just a process. I will see you in the next training.